Welcome and karibuni to Aroma of Zanzibar. Today I'm going to share with you how I'm making this beautiful, flavorful and colorful paella. So over here I have got shrimp broth cubes and I also have fish cubes. Now it's always advisable to make your own fish broth or shrimp or use clam juice or mussel juice, anything that's fishy to bring those flavors into your dish. All right, so I'm just going to heat this up because I need my broth to be hot before I add it into the rice. Now the next, which is actually the most important ingredient of this dish, is the saffron. I've got a Spanish saffron that I'm using here, but I believe that the smoked Spanish saffron is what's used in this recipe. So we're just going to smoke this, right? You need about 25 to 30 strands of saffron, and I don't know how much I've put in there, and I cannot afford to waste this. So we're just going to smoke this and to get that, the smoky flavors and the aromas into the dish as well. So I'm going to put this on my pot that I'm using for cooking. It's on medium heat, not high. And we're just going to roast it for about 2 to 3 minutes. You don't want it to become dark, so this is just about right. All right. And then you can just smash it like that while it's still warm and you will get a nice fine powder. Or else you want to go further like what I did and I just crush it with a pestle. And that's it. It's very simple. And you can see my saffron powder is like that. Okay. So now we're going to start making the dish. All right. We're going to start with a sauce. And you need about 3 tablespoons of olive oil or 4. You have to be very generous with this, but I ran out of my olive oil. And I added about 1 cup of chopped onions. I'm using white onions. It's basically, I used 1 medium size of onion. So you just want to saute it. We're not looking for the color over here. We just want it to be nice and soft. All right. And then I add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now the ratio of the tomatoes and onion is 1:3. So if you're using 1 portion of the onion, you want to use 3 portions of the tomatoes. But I like to use the tomato paste because, when it's getting stuck at the bottom, it gives you that nice smoky taste. So those flavors really add to the paella. Okay, so the sauce is the most important part of this dish, really. Okay, so I cooked that for about 3 minutes, and then I used a crushed fresh garlic. This is about 6 to 7 cloves of garlic. All right. And then we're just going to saute this. Like I said, the sauce is the most important part. And I think it's called, I don't want to say the word, but I'll write it right. Okay. And then we add the saffron. And you're going to saute that for 2 minutes. And then I added the Spanish smoked paprika. That also to add, that smokiness. And then we saute it for about 10 minutes. And then I add my crushed tomatoes. I used blanched tomatoes. I do have a video on how to blanch the tomatoes. If you don't want to blanch them, you can always grate them, all right? Because you don't want to use the skin of the tomato. So we cook this for about 10 minutes. And then I add my calamaris. You can add your calamaris. You can slice your calamaris however you like, but my kids love the rings. They just get a kick out of it. And the reason why I'm adding my calamaris now, because I want them to cook very well. The rule for cooking calamari, it's either 3 minutes or 30 minutes. So we are going for 30. Add the salt, which I almost forgot. And we're going to cook this for about 10 minutes. All right, the rest of the ingredients, I'm using clams and mussels, which are pre-cooked. This is what I could get in the market. And the shrimps, they usually cook them with the heads, but my kids don't like the heads. But I am keeping the shells. This will add extra flavors to my dish. All right, and the vegetables, I'm using green and red bell peppers. And for the rice, I would have loved to use short grain rice, but I could not get. I'm only using medium grain rice. That's what I have at the moment. So if you have short grain, please go ahead and use it. So now my sauce is almost ready, so I'm just going to add the vegetables. Now the seafood paella does not really have vegetables, but I like to add vegetables. Like, there's so many variations of this recipe, and this is my style. So if you're not comfortable with these vegetables, you don't have to. But if you want to use some other type of vegetables, please go ahead and use it. All right, so we're just going to saute that for about 3 minutes and then add the rice. I used about 2.5 cups of rice that serves about for 6 people. So whatever rice you use. And we're just going to saute this for about 4 to 5 minutes until the sauce is really, really well coated into the rice. Now for this recipe, we do not wash the rice, I guess because of the type of rice that they use. And then we add the broth. Now, whatever rice you use, please make sure you read the instructions. Mine, for 1 cup of rice, I needed about 1.5 cups of liquid. Okay, so you just want to stir it well to make sure everything is well combined, just a little. And then I still cook it on medium heat for about 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, we're going to cover it and put it on low for about 15 to 20 minutes. You're going to simmer it. Now it depends on how your rice is going to cook. So mine, before the 20 minutes, this is at 15. Just going to check the rice. It's almost cooked, so I still have 5 more minutes to cook. I'm going to add my seafood at this point. Now remember the clams and the mussels, they're all pre-cooked. So if you have fresh ones, you want to pre-cook them and use that liquid to cook your rice with, okay? So they don't need much time to cook at this point because they're pre-cooked, and just 5 minutes is enough. So we're gonna, you see, I'm adding all my seafood over there, and the shrimps take about 3 minutes to cook. You don't want to overcook them. You don't want them to become too rubbery as well. I'm gonna cover this and let it cook for the last 5 minutes. And as they say, the Spanish people, the rice is supposed to stick at the bottom. That's a signature part of the rice of this dish. You can actually hear the sound. Mine was just beginning, so I'm going to keep it for like 2 minutes. And then once we're done, you're going to turn off the heat and let it rest for about 5 minutes before you serve it. And it's usually served in the same dish that it's been cooked on. All right, so this is ready, it's rested, and we're just gonna garnish it with some parsley for some colors and some lemon wedges. So thank you so much. For more recipes, please visit me at Aroma of Zanzibar, and you'll find all the ingredients in the description box below.